Hello, PCA community. Welcome back. I have the track team with us. Some of you thought that maybe we forgot about that there's a track really force that is here at PCA. We didn't. There's just a lot going on. This is a special wrap-up, and it's also a preview of what spring track is coming. We also are blessed to have one of the coaches here. But more importantly, I want to get out of the way. Unless you hear from some of these athletes, we're going to do a retrospect on the winter track season and then a preview as well on the spring track season. And I can't wait for you to meet them. So let's start on my left around the table. And if you'd introduce yourselves to us.
My name is Brady. I'm from Somersworth. I've been going to PCA since preschool. And my main focus in track is distance. So I focus on the 1500 and 3K in winter track.
Which is your favorite?
I'd probably say the 1500 is my favorite.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Brady.
My name is Christian Barnes, and I'm from Portsmouth. I've been going to PCA for 2 years now, and I am a distance runner. I focus on the 3K, 1500, and 1K. And out of those, I'd probably say my favorite is the 3K because I have more time to be able to speed up or slow down. So,
do you find yourself better at that as well?
Yeah, I have more time to be able to think about how the speed I need to go or how fast I need to go.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty impressive to me. All right, next.
I'm Adelynn, and I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And so I've been going to PCA since freshman year, and I'm a senior now. And I'm mostly a sprinter, so I would say my favorite event is the 100-meter dash.
The 100-meter dash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Adelynn, how long have you been in the area? Kansas City sounds like where you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm familiar with it. There's great barbecue out there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Is it?
I've been in New Hampshire since 8th grade.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been involved in tracks? This is spring new?
I started freshman and sophomore year, and then I took a break junior year, and I started back up in the winter season.
Cool.
Good.
Yes.
All right, next.
I'm Caterina. I'm from Stratham, New Hampshire. This is my 4th year at PCA. I am a sprinter and a jumper, and my favorite event is the 200 meter. But for indoor season, it's probably long jump.
Okay. So you're the first jumper that we've had so far. Okay. That's really cool. Well, thank you, Caterina.
My name is Israel Staling, and my hometown is Auburn, New Hampshire. I've been at PCA since 8th grade, and my favorite event is the 300 meter.
Okay. 300 meter. Now tell folks, most people who aren't familiar with track, and that sounds like a really odd number, but what's the 300 meter?
It's just a 200 meter, but with extra 100 meters. So it's really a long distance sprint. So you gotta stay sprinting pretty fast. Gotta keep your form.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It sounds painful, Coach.
Yeah. The 300 meter and the 400 meter are arguably the hardest track and field meets events because you're really going an all-out sprint.
Yeah.
Throughout that effort in a very short amount of time.
Just holding on to that intensity. So, wow. Israel, well, that's pretty impressive.
I'm Gage. I've been here. It's my 3rd year here at PCA, and I do the 1500 meter and the 1K, and I love the 1500 meter. That's my event for sure.
So why not the 1K? What's the 1500 about?
It's a little bit longer distance. I love doing longer distance stuff, and it just, I feel like I can go faster in that event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think were you 3 of you all across country too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did great. I mean, you guys went a long way this year. That's great. Well, I get a sense, I think that cross country is coming through.
Yeah.
And Coach Teeter, tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Keith. I've been here at PCA coaching or in an assistant capacity for probably about 4 years, but this year is our first R. I say R because Coach Justin Malone also is a co-coach with me. So I could not do it without him. The two of us are really a team. We work very well together. Just super honored to be able to be part of this team and learn alongside of each one of you and the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's great. Coach, roughly how many student athletes were on the team in winter?
Yeah, so there were roughly around 30 students, which is a very large team for a winter track and field team. It's typically around 15 or less. So to have a team of that size for winter track is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So we are grateful to have and blessed to have a good crew of students. All of them were amazing students.
Yeah. And then what grades are participating?
That's a great question. So typically it's high school, but as a smaller school, we're allowed to bring in people from grade 6 and up if you don't have enough high school athletes. So on the girls' side, we didn't have enough to fill out a full team. So we were able to pull up Elizabeth from our middle school, who's in 7th grade. And she was actually able to compete all the way up against Division II schools and actually place in these meets at the high school level, which is pretty exciting to watch.
It is. I can imagine her being able to run with you all and be a part of that. It's huge. And just, you mentioned something just for the context, and it's really hats off to you athletes. So you mentioned that we run Division II in the winter.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're a Division IV school, so explain that to us.
Yeah, so because of winter track, there's not enough track space, so they really divided up into 2 groups. So the large school, which is Division I, and then which is essentially Division I, the same as in spring track. But then everyone else gets lumped into Division II. It's a very large division that includes schools from I believe I can't remember the size of the Division II, but it's very large schools. We're probably one of the smallest schools competing against all the Division II schools. Yeah. And we hold our own.
Well, that was sort of what I was going to get to. I mean, your athletes, I mean, they do so well on a much bigger stage than normal. And do a lot of D4 schools, that we typically run with, not have a winter program, or is that?
Yeah, a lot of schools decide not to do the winter program. I think it's really critical and important for us. It helps kind of maintain those athletes throughout the season and getting them prepared for that spring season. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity for us. With the winter, it's hard. You're training in very freezing cold temperatures. A lot of kids don't like to get out there and put themselves out there, but these guys are super brave. They all did it. It was, yeah.
True New Englanders, PCA New Englanders. That's great. Well, thanks, Coach, for painting that picture. Yeah. Let's look back a little bit for the first part on winter track, this season you guys just completed. Brady, would you kick us off by just highlighting a personal, key point of this winter season?
I'd say a personal highlight for me this season was probably about halfway through the season. I remember the first qualifying meet. I wasn't supposed to be there because I didn't have a qualifying time, but somehow the coaches got me in. And I was placed last in my heat for the 1500.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done because I was so tired and I woke up sick that day too.
Oh, wow.
But I think that might have been the best race I ever ran. Because
you got, when you say placed, when you started, you were at the last.
I was 12th out of 12.
12 out of 12. Okay.
Yeah. And the fastest 1500 runner in the state was running there too.
No way.
Yeah. And I remember Christian cheered me on. He's like, "You got this. It doesn't matter. Just don't stick with the first guy." And I remember I ran a PR by over 11 seconds and qualified. And that's probably like my favorite moment from the whole season.
I can imagine. What do you attribute that to, that performance?
Probably coaches, the training, staying consistent.
Well, that's cool.
I'd say a good portion of that too was you believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had the capability and you believed it and you lived into that.
Yeah, I think that showed me I'm capable of more than I thought I was.
Wow, that's powerful. Thanks for sharing that. Caterina, I realized, though I was not a track athlete, but I realized it is both an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. And can you just show or share with us how that played out for the winter team?
Yeah, I really saw it play out with our relay teams because in previous years on the girls' side, we didn't have enough girls for relay teams. And it really did feel more like an individual sport for me. And this year we were able to have a 4x4 team and a 4x160 team and a 4x2 team, which we got to go to states with. And we broke records. I was a part of the record-breaking team for the 4x160 and the 4x200. And that was really cool because I'd never truly seen the team aspect of cross country on the girls' side because we really didn't have that big of a team. And going into states and like barely getting that school record was really fun for us.
But you broke the school record in both. And just quick explain, there's a 4x160 and a 4x200.
Yeah.
The 4x160 threw me off till some of you girls explained it to me last night. But explain it to our listeners.
So at UNH, their track is 160 meters and almost every other indoor track is 200 meters. So when we race at UNH, the sprint relay is a 4x160, and then every other sprint relay at every other track is a 4x200.
And you broke both of them at UNH and on the big, what I call the big now track. That's great. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Israel, I heard that this season presented its own unique challenges, especially as Coach was talking about competing against much bigger schools. How did that really test you, and what kept you motivated to be thinking about going against these bigger schools?
Yeah. So last year I was fortunate enough to be able to place top 5 for most of the events I did, every single meet. When I came to winter track this year, it really humbled me because I wasn't able to place as high as I used to. So that was like really a testing moment for me. So like I had to bring myself back and like know I had to work harder.
Yeah.
And what kept me motivated is like I really wanted to place, so I had to keep going and work harder.
Yeah. So just for the listeners, so last year, so what grade are you at then?
I'm at 9th.
Yeah. So I mean, just so you guys can't see Israel, but I mean, Israel doesn't look like a typical 9th grader to me, but it's a big step up in the competition, not just in the sphere, but just, you can hear how he rose to that challenge. And, I appreciate you just sharing it. It is humbling. And yet you stepped into it really well, sounds like. So well done. Thanks for sharing. All right, Christian, sort of like Israel alluded to, we talk a lot about character and how to persevere through it. Can you share a moment that you had to persevere, whether it's setback, injury, or tough competition?
So probably towards the middle to the end of the season, my toughest competition was probably myself, because getting out there sometimes and training alone in the cold, dark weather, that can be really difficult.
Yeah.
I wasn't running as much as I should have, and it did not end up well for me, but I tried my best to stay as strong as I could. And when I got to states, I ended up doing something that was better than I probably should have.
Okay.
I ended up placing 5th in the 3K and ran a decent time based off of how much I've been running the past few weeks.
Okay.
So I'd say like just the winter in general, probably the biggest setback for me.
Yeah, it's just tough slogging through it.
Especially with asthma too.
Oh, wow.
I have bad asthma, so running in the cold winter weather can be really difficult for me.
Triggers that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Well, it's just incredible respect for you to continue to navigate that, push through it, manage it. I imagine your coaches and your parents and others and your teammates are part of that. But I hear that there's just alone time, right? You're just out there.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine for a lot of you, that was just a lot of alone time and making it happen. And since this sport has it, that some cases more than other sports.
Yeah. We had practice 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days were alone days. Yeah. But sometimes we would try to run together whenever we could.
Yeah.
And obviously on those days, I always found myself actually running, where sometimes on my alone days, I would be like, I don't know if I want to run today. It's kind of cold out there.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I get it. But you know what? That's part of that. Caterina was talking about the individual team and
team aspect.
And that's really, thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Adelynn, in what ways did you see yourself grow as an athlete and as a person this season? I mean, clearly you've run before, you took the break junior year. Mm-hmm. How was this year a year of growth for you?
As an athlete, my freshman and sophomore year, the difference in practice is like astronomical. Like the way I felt after my 100 meter compared to my 300 meter, I felt like wanting to pass out after my 300. meter this winter season. And I felt like that after my 100 meter, my freshman and sophomore year, which was not very good. So the practices have just helped me, and I've just felt stronger because of those practices, and I felt more capable of taking on more things. If coach told me to run an 800 freshman or sophomore year, I'd be like, no way. But he put me in for the 4x800, which I jogged. I mean, I couldn't do any more than that, but I had faith in myself, and I knew that my coaches were behind me. So I said yes to that. And I've really enjoyed this winter season because I've grown as a person, spiritually and individually. So taking on a leadership aspect, I've just felt more confident in leading people. And I felt more love, and I felt like giving more love to people because everybody on the team needs encouragement.
Sure do.
So that's how I've grown as a person in my faith, and just seeing that play out with all the team members. So
do you sense that it sounds like encouragement's a big part of who you are. Is that something you both receive and are able to give, or tell me a little bit?
Yeah, I receive encouragement, but I like to give it more. I like giving encouragement because then I feel like I'm helping that person. And it's hard because some team members get down on themselves. So it's helpful to have somebody saying you can do this, even when your own mind's telling you can't.
Sure.
So
yeah. I mean, I love that. Just the idea. Coach, you're going to say something?
Yeah, no, it's just been really cool to watch. Like, there's two kids in this room here today, both Addie and Brady, who are team captains. And like the encouragement that they gave the team this year, I mean, what she shared is really an understatement. Like, she is like highly gifted in her ability to encourage others. Like, we wouldn't be where we are today, like in terms of like our ability to compete at the level that we were, without people like Brady and Addie, who really came alongside of each of the athletes and helped them to know that they are loved and that they're doing great.
Yeah.
So
wow.
we appreciate that.
It's a real gift. It's a spiritual gift. Well done.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Gage, teams are built on far more than performance. I think I heard Coach say that last night. It's often about faith and friendship. We touched some of that. How did you see this play out this winter from your perspective?
Yeah, as Christian was saying earlier, winter can be a dark time, right? There's a lot of, cold, and it can be dark, and having a team and friends, really, like Brady and Christian, two of my best friends, really, who I can rely on to keep pushing me. That's my kind of motivation. I get motivated by my friend group, and on those days that we're not, practicing as a team, being able to say, hey, Brady, you want to run with me? Hey, Christian, you want to run? That's a really powerful thing. I'm really feel blessed that we have that as a community here. And, I find a lot of connection with God spiritually when I'm running. I think it's a great way to, make that connection and have a personal relationship with Him. And this team has really allowed me, in winter, spring, and cross country, has allowed me to make those connections stronger. And really an atmosphere at PCA here that can be Christ-centered and as we run and that sort of thing. So
that's really, well done. Thanks for sharing that. Addie, you talked about faith and encouragement, but for you and how you train, even how you compete, support your teammates, how does your faith just sort of guide you as a team captain, as an athlete yourself?
I would say Bible verses go a long way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in practice, we start off with a verse of the day. And so there was a psalm, it was Psalms 32, 17 through 18. It was talking about how we should run as fast as deer, and then we're strong as pulling back bows of bronze. So Bible verses definitely encouraged me. And then in Bible verses, God talks about, or the psalmists write, that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens, and God has given all of us bodies to serve Him. So that's how I think of it. And in my accomplishments, I don't think of it as myself, but God has granted me this gift that I should use. So that's how I train, and that's my mentality of practicing.
Yeah. Everybody's on the journey. So, but as a team captain, and maybe Brady, you want to chime in here, but how do you see that? How do you see your fellow athletes navigating that too? Realistic. I know, like I said, we're all on the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see it?
I see it a lot through my fellow athletes because every time before a race, I know Christian, Gage, and we always pray before a race and practice. And I think that shows a lot in our performance too. We know God's on our side.
Yeah, it's got to be a great sense of strength.
Yeah, on that starting line, you getting ready to go, and it's just like, I don't know how people do without God, to be honest. You kind of have to have that, I get jitters like big time. So being able to just like relax, God's on my side and he is, we're doing it for him. Right. So it's really powerful.
Christian.
Yeah, I know like you're just saying on the starting line, it can be very nerve wracking because you're out there and like sometimes there might be expectations and people are looking at you like you need to do this, or you need to do that. That can be very difficult to get over, but what I find myself doing a lot is like almost not making small talk, but I guess just wishing everybody luck around me first. But then I always try to say all glory goes to God right before the race starts.
Yeah.
Because I just like to keep that on my mind because usually when I approach the end of a race, I start to think to myself, I'm like, okay, this is where I need to stay strong. And if there's one place I need God, this is where it is. This is where I need him to give me strength.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks. It sounds like you all are different ways. I mean, how does the Lord meet you in that training, competition, middle of it? That's really, really amazing to hear and encouraging. Back to that key word, Addie, encouragement. Let's shift looking ahead a little bit and as we sort of turn the corner here. Caterina, I know it doesn't feel like spring outside. The wind's blowing really strong right now, but most of the snow is gone at this point. What are you most looking forward to about the upcoming spring season?
I am looking forward to the sun when we're practicing because it honestly does impact my motivation when it's cloudy and cold and we're training and it's dark out. I think it impacts everyone and I think it's overlooked sometimes, but I'm very excited for the warmth and to be training outside too, and competing outside is always really fun and more people tend to show up when it's outdoors. And I'm also excited for my outdoor events because I like the 200 better than the 300.
Okay.
Like Israel was talking about, it's really hard, the 300. So I like doing the 200 better. It's a little shorter and I get to run a little faster.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Gage, clearly there are some differences between spring and winter track, but how would you describe what they are? Whether it's just the training, the events that maybe are available, or the overall sort of vibe of the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, winter's a little bit more, it's obviously indoor. It's a little more chill, I'd say, in some ways. It's a little more, we have fun on all seasons, but I think that winter is when you can kind of just stay with your team and just keep training and keep working towards, goals. I personally really love cross country. So, I'm always trying to push towards cross country. And I see winter as kind of keep myself in shape. And that's, again, where the importance of having a team is important because I couldn't do it, by myself, really, I don't think, to be perfectly honest. And that team motivates me a lot to keep pushing towards my goals. So,
do this team dynamics from your perspective shift in the spring from the winter? You said winter's a little more laid back, but any other differences for spring?
Yeah, I think that the dynamics shift in the sense that the team can get a little bit more, again, involved in spring a little bit more. I think that you can have more things that are happening outside and doing more things, having a lot more fun. That's activity wise. So
yeah, got it. So Coach, are there more student athletes typically in spring than winter? I mean, 30s is big.
Yeah, typically. I mean, usually there's around 20 athletes right now. Like in terms of interest, we have about 35 students that are interested for spring. So we'll see what happens. The more the merrier. We welcome all.
There we go. That's great. Israel, despite being a smaller school, it's been clear, I mean, going back several years, that PCA track and cross country, men's and women's, have been making some waves far beyond kind of our size. But what makes this team special that other people may not see? I mean, as a freshman coming on, that may not make the headlines.
I think something that's really important and special for this team is our connection. Like, since we're a smaller school, I feel like a lot of us are more interconnected. Like, most track teams are like 50 plus people. So when I see like everybody knows each other, everyone is like cheering each other on, it makes me like feel a lot happier. I think like another thing is welcoming spirit. Like, when I first came to this track team, I felt like really welcome. Like, I didn't feel that like any other teams that have been on. Like,
Yeah.
when I came to track, everyone was like cheering me on.
Yeah.
So
That's
really
really nice.
nice.
Yeah. Because you guys see each other a lot. Christian, you can add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the coaches. So I've talked to coaches from other teams, and a lot of them will say that the coaches we have here are very good. They know what they're doing. They've been running for a while. And I think just having coaches that are experienced and believe in us is really important and can add a lot to our whole team.
Yeah. Okay. Special. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll get to you, Coach, to share some of your backstory. I know only a little bit of it, but and Coach Malone too. Well, super. Brady, as we look to the spring, I recognize that not everyone starts off great at what they do, right? And it sounds like we may have some new athletes that are joining the team. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about whether to come out for spring track? Yeah, what would you say to them?
Well, first I want to say I am living proof of the fact that it doesn't matter how you start, because I think most track athletes or people that want to do track have a hidden talent, that something they'll be good at in track. It just takes a while to unlock. And I think anyone should try it out, because there's a lot of different things you can do in each event.
Find that hidden talent. Gage is smiling big here.
Yeah, I mean, I started track a few years ago now. It's been doing it for 2 years, and like I was not a runner, I was not an athlete, and I just like realized that I love this. It's so much fun to just get out there and run, and it's a freedom, honestly.
Yeah.
And really doing it with your friends too. That's kind of the most important part for me.
Yeah, I'd say it doesn't matter how you start. You just have to stay consistent. If you do that, you'll see a lot of improvement.
Yeah. I don't know, Coach, consistency continues to be an emerging theme in life and the Christian walk. All of it, just learning to be. And you guys, just athletes, this sport, I think consistency is something that you really help rise into.
Yeah. Consistency is something that we teach often. And what Christian was sharing earlier about like the dark days and stuff with distance running, a lot of it is mathematical. It's about the time you put in. And so like with anything in life, the more you put in, the more the result. So like when we're working on our faith, when we're really trying to drive towards something, like the more we work at it, the better we get. And so we see that with our athletes, and Brady is a good example, but there's more beyond just running, like in track and field. And that's what's exciting. It's not just track. It's track and field. And a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to be a certain size or shape, or like it fits anyone. So any ability, you don't have to be hugely athletic. You can, as long as you come with a willing attitude, a learning attitude, you could be taught, and it's great. So there's throwing, there's vaulting, there's jumping, there's all sorts of things.
Yeah, that's right. But right here is anybody can find a place. That's really neat. Christian, there are a lot of events coaches sort of talking about them: sprints, distance, throws, jumps, probably more. Sort of keep going on this. New to the sport, how would you encourage them to step into it or jump into it or whatever?
Well, I'd say most people, when they first join like a track team, they might be nervous. Like they don't know how the coaches will be, or they don't know how the people, like their teammates will interact with them. But I think the most important thing is just to trust in the process. And when you first like start, you don't know what you're going to be good at.
Right.
So I would recommend trying not necessarily every event, but as many events as you can to try to find which event you are the best at and which one you want to focus on.
Okay.
And once you do that, you can start training. And like Coach Teeter said, consistency.
Okay.
With consistency, you'll eventually get good at that.
Yeah, but we want to try them all out. Great.
I'd also say listen to the coach when he tells you what events, like recommends you what event you should do.
Yeah.
I remember throughout winter, I did not want to do the 3K, but I think doing that helped me a lot, even though it was rough. I think that helped my mindset a lot, and it unlocked something within me.
That's really, really neat. Yeah, good job, Coach. All right, Addie, close this out. A little bit more encouragement. Spring sounds like it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
we are hoping that Caterina's warm, sunny days happen more often
Yeah.
than not. We recognize it's not always the case. But how do you encourage one another through the tough training days, the hard races, especially in spring?
Especially in spring. Usually what I've implemented in the winter season was just after every lap we did, I'd high five or fist bump people and say, good job, everybody. And just try to act goofy,
Yeah.
because that keeps spirits, because I'm kind of goofy sometimes. So that's one of the ways I keep spirits up. And especially in spring, it's going to get super hot and people are going to be sweating so much. And it's just going to be a different kind of brutal. So I'd use the same high fives and fist bumps, but probably encourage people to drink some water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a little electrolytes in that.
Yes.
Yeah, drink
Yeah.
water, electrolytes, stay
Yep.
hydrated, stretch it out. Yeah, all right. Well, that's great. Well, we look forward to hearing how you all, sprint, run, jump, throw all spring. All right, Coach, I'll close it out, give you sort of the last hurrah here of what's been a great conversation. As you look back winter track from you and maybe Coach Malone's perspective, what stood out for you across the season?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things. I mean, our team, like we talked about, is large, but they're large in heart more than anything. Like, it's pretty cool that, and like what Israel just shared about being welcomed, being part of something that's bigger than yourself. Like when I coach, when Justin and I coach, like the team gives us more joy, I think, a lot of times than we're helping. Like, it feels like we're part of something bigger that God has in store. And when I think about coaching, and I kind of think of an illustration that, I bought a rock tumbler for my kids when they were younger. And I kind of see us all as like these rocks that are jagged, and we have these rough edges and things that need to be refined. And as a coach, like, it brings great joy to be part of a team that not only is competing well and doing phenomenal at the state level, at a Division II level, but they are even more than that. They are daily out there, like, working and actually being kind to each other and to other teammates. There was one athlete on the team I watched after this person failed an event, got right back up and was cheering for the other team and super excited for the other team. It's just really awesome to see how God takes, like, us jagged rocks and really kind of refines us to make us smooth over time. And that's kind of what our season looks like too, is like, we work on these little edges, these little things that we need to work on. And we have a plan to kind of help students to get there. And it's pretty cool to see when you peak right at the right time to have a great accomplishment at the end of the season. So it's an honor and a joy to be part of such an amazing team that we get to do that.
Well, thanks for sharing. Your joy comes through just in how you said it. And that's really encouraging. So as you look to this spring for your team, for the community of your athletes, what are any hopes or goals that you have for them in particular?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously, like, the first goal is really to sit down with each team member and make sure that they have a goal for themselves, because a big part of it is understanding what it is that each athlete wants to accomplish. And in order to encourage them and to help them to meet those goals, we need to have a conversation. So we sit down and we're going to have a conversation with each individual and really kind of develop step goals. That helps. But I'd be lying to say, we don't have a team goal to be like the state champion.
Yeah.
And it's possible and achievable. And it's really, and a lot of people don't know this about track and field, but a lot of track and field is mental. Like, there's a big portion of it. And Brady, you were talking about it, and we talked about you something clicked this year, and it was about you believing in yourself. It's the same thing. Like, when these students really believe in the capabilities and they trust the process, as Christian shared, if you trust the process, believe in yourself, and work hard and persevere through these different things. There will be failures and setbacks, but that's not unlike life, right? Like we have failures and setbacks, but those things only help to create who we are today. So like we need those things to help propel us. So yeah, we love to see these different things, and it's these things that help us to live into that potential that God has for us. So
yeah, that's great. That would be wonderful to see how that plays out, because we don't really know how that story. We generally know what the schedule's going to look like, but how the story is going to play for each of your athletes and your team is really that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to close out with and share with our community?
No, just, I mean, some people may not realize this about track and field, but track and field is not just hard work, and it's also hard play. Like we do play hard. And if anyone's on the school campus, like when we're practicing, we don't have a track here.
Not yet. We're prayerful about that.
That would be awesome to have. But in absence of that, we have our parking lot. And in the parking lot, though, like if you come after school, you watch these students, and the fun that they're having while they're working together to accomplish their goals is just so exciting. The music that's loud, that's pumping, like it's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
So we encourage all to come out and be part.
That'd be
of the
great.
excitement.
That'd be great. Well, real fast, since you're all doing spring, right? I think before the real, maybe starting with Brady and going around this way. What do you plan on doing in the spring in terms of your events?
I'm hoping to do the 800, 1600, and 3200.
Wow.
And I'm hoping to at least make it to states for one of those.
Okay. Awesome. We pray for that. Christian.
Probably the same thing as Brady, 800, 1600, and 3200. But additionally, as a team, the 4x8 and 4x4.
Okay.
I'd probably say my main focus will be the 1600 and 3200.
Okay.
And then we'll see how the 800 goes. We'll just go with the flow on that one.
All right.
You
All
got
right.
this.
Addie, how about you?
I will be doing the 100 and the 200, which I haven't done, only in relays, high jump, javelin, and 4x1.
Wow.
No 800.
No 800. 20 if you want to be jogging.
Okay. If the team needs you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, gotcha. How about you, Caterina?
I will be doing the 100, the 200, and long jump. And
Okay.
hopefully the 4x100.
All right. All right. And now I know some school records dropped. Do you foresee any school records dropping in outdoor for the women? Are any
For this-
reached to break?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We will most definitely break the spring 4x1
Yeah.
Okay.
this spring season.
All right. Feel looking forward. All right.
Confident.
Thank you. Coach, thumbs up. That Israel.
I'm doing the 100, 200, and the 400. I'm really trying to see how far I could get my first year doing this. So I just want to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Well, good for you for stepping in. As a strong freshman, I mean, you're going to be leading the team here in no time. So well done. Hey, Gage, close us out. What are you looking at this spring?
Yes, I'm definitely doing the 1600 for sure, and maybe 3200. I think I want to try that, maybe, hopefully. So
You got this.
I am really hopeful that I can maybe get states this year. I haven't done states for track yet, so I think it'd kind of fun to see if I can get it.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach, we're really praying for your team as you guys are doing some preseason workouts. When does the season start and when does it end?
March 24th is when it starts, and it culminates in May. I think it's May 10th, I believe. But yeah, we are doing preseason workouts on Tuesdays and Thursdays on campus, but we also have plans that are pretty much every day of the week. So a lot of building to make it up to the season.
All right. Well, God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. I hope you're as encouraged as Addie hopes that we are, because she's such an encourager. And we'll see you on campus and maybe at a track soon. God bless you. Go Eagles.